The oven coughs once, and then the light dies. Smoke crawls up the wall. Leo holds a tray of ruined bread and counts the cost in his head. At sunrise, the town will come. If he closes the door, he keeps his pride. If he opens anyway, he may lose their trust. Nothing is free. Not even a second chance. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Luminary English. Today we follow Leo as he turns failure into skill and doubt into steady work. Listen for clear phrases about effort, risk, and recovery. When a line lands well, echo it in a low voice. Keep your breath calm and your pace simple. Let us begin. Part 1. The Town and the Dream. Morning slides over the valley like a soft hand. Roofs keep a thin line of mist, and the river moves with a patient mind. Doors open one by one. A bicycle bell rings once and fades. A radio gives a quiet forecast. Work begins before the sun is fully awake. In a small house near the road, a toolbox clicks open, and metal finds metal in a steady rhythm. It is the sound of a father who fixes what is broken and keeps the town moving. In the kitchen, a mother folds clean linen and checks a short list on a page. She notes the price of soap and the time to visit a client. She adds a small reminder to bring tea for later. The table carries 3 cups. Steam rises like small flags of comfort. On the far chair, a young girl swings her feet and asks if there will be sweet bread after school. She smiles at her brother, as if he can make such a thing appear by will alone. Leo washes his hands and looks through the window. The glass holds a faint print from last night. He sees the street he knows and the life he loves, and still he feels a pull toward something larger. It is not greed. It is a wish to build a place where people gather, eat, talk, and feel safe. In his mind, he sees bright counters, warm trays, quiet corners, and a rhythm of service that does not lie. He sees a team that cares more about the work than about words. He sees a chain of rooms with the same honest soul. Money is tight. The family counts bills with care and always leaves a little for the next week. Leo knows this truth as well as his own name. Yet the dream does not back away when the numbers do not smile. It steps closer. It asks for a plan. It asks for proof. Leo does not have a fortune. He has 2 hands, a steady back, and a promise to learn. The town is small, but small does not mean closed. People greet one another by name. They remember who helped when the river rose last season. They notice who cleansed the sidewalk and who leaves crumbs for birds. Trust here is slow, but once it arrives, it stays. Leo understands this. He knows that a door can open if he knocks with patience. He takes a breath and draws a simple map in his mind. Start where you stand. Use what you have. Trade effort for skill. Do not wait for a perfect signal. Listen for one need that you can meet today. Then step toward it. The dream is still a picture, but the picture now has a handle he can hold. Part 2. The Offer and the Walk to the Bakery. The idea arrives like a clear bell in a quiet room. People in town love warm bread, yet the nearest bakery sits beyond the ridge. Leo studies this small gap between need and supply. He does not have a fortune. He has a path. He will ask the baker to let him carry bread to town and pay after he sells. It sounds simple when he says it in his mind. It is harder when he imagines the look on the baker face. He sets out before the street grows busy. The road climbs, turns, and opens to fields with low fences and birds that lift in sudden waves. Leo keeps a steady pace. He practices his lines in a calm voice. He will be honest about risk. He will promise to return each evening with payment. He will keep the story short and let his work speak for him. The bakery sits in a brick building with a wooden counter worn by years of trade. Mr. Anderson stands behind it with flour on his sleeves and a careful gaze. Leo greets him by name and asks for a minute. He explains the town. He explains the walk. He explains the plan to sell fresh loaves near the park. The room holds a long pause. Mr. Anderson asks why he should trust a young man he barely knows. Leo does not rush. He says that he will keep his word and that the baker may end the deal if he fails once. Another silence. Then the baker nods. He will supply enough bread for one day. Payment must come back that same evening. If Leo proves steady, they will continue. The nod is small, but to Leo it feels like a door opening in a wall he thought was solid. He thanks the baker, gathers the warm loaves with careful hands, and steps back into the light with a weight that is heavy and hopeful at the same time. Part 3. The First Day of Sales. Morning air is cool enough to make the bread steam like quiet breath. Leo sets a small stand near the park where footpaths cross. He lays a clean cloth. He stacks loaves so the crust catches the light. He breathes once to calm his voice. Then he calls out in a tone that is clear but gentle. Fresh bread. Warm and simple. Take a taste. People pass with a cautious glance. Doubt is normal on the first day. Leo offers small samples and explains how each loaf rested, rose, and met the heat. A grandmother stops, tries a bite, and smiles with her eyes. She buys one. A man on a bicycle slows, listens, and buys two. A child tugs a sleeve and points at the glossy crust. The stack grows lower. The cloth shows through. Leo does not push. He answers questions. He thanks each person by name when he learns it. He keeps notes in his head about the time when the path grows busiest and which size people prefer. By noon, the stand is almost empty. He keeps one loaf to carry back as a sign of care for the baker who trusted him. The last sale lands like a soft bell. He folds the cloth, counts the bills, and places the coins in a small pouch. The walk back feels shorter. The bakery door opens to the same wooden counter and the same quiet gaze. Leo sets down the payment and the one loaf he saved as a gesture. Mr. Anderson counts, says little, and gives a single nod. Return tomorrow. The words are few, yet they carry a clear message. Keep the rhythm, keep the promise. Leo steps out into the evening with tired legs and a light heart, already planning how to greet the next day. Part 4. Learning to bake. The suggestion comes from a kind customer who says that a seller may grow stronger when he becomes a maker. Leo hears it and feels both excitement and fear. To bake would mean control, but it would also mean new skill and new risk. He chooses to ask for help rather than pretend he knows. The next morning, he returns to the bakery and asks Mr. Anderson if he can learn. The baker frowns at first. Teaching a student is slow. A student may leave and become a rival. Leo speaks with care. He says he will not forget the first hand that opened a door for him. He asks for a chance. The baker agrees with terms that are plain. Baking is patient work. It hurts the wrists. It tests the back. It does not flatter your pride. If Leo accepts this, he may come before dawn and start at the table where the flour waits. Leo accepts. He sets an alarm for early hours and rises while the street is still a dark line. The first lesson is simple and deep. Measure with respect. Touch the dough like a living thing. Give it time. The second lesson is not in any book. Keep notes in plain words you can trust when you are tired. Leo mixes, folds, rests, and shapes. The dough sticks when his mind wanders. The crust dulls when he rushes the heat. A batch comes out too hard. Another sags with a sad center. He wants to win. Yet the craft will not bend to want. It bends to attention. He breathes and resets. He learns to feel the window when dough is ready. He learns the sound of a good knock on a finished loaf. He learns that a clean bench is a fast bench, and that sharp tools save time later. One morning he slides a tray from the oven, and the crust sings a tiny crackling song. The crumb is even. The scent is warm and honest. Mr. Anderson breaks the loaf, nods once, and says that it will serve. Leo carries that loaf home like a small flag. He does not shout. He puts on water for tea and shares the first slices with his family. The taste is not perfect. It is better than perfect. It is proof that steady effort turns into skill you can hold in your hands. Tomorrow, he will bake again. Tomorrow, he will sell again. The rhythm is set, and the work begins to speak for him. Part 5, Home Oven and New Hands. The first good loaf changes the room. Leo rents a small oven and turns the family kitchen into a warm workshop. The table wears flour like frost. Trays cool on folded towels. The air holds a calm sweetness that makes the walls feel closer in a good way. Mother keeps a gentle eye on the flame and brews tea for each break. Sophie counts bags, ties ribbons, and laughs when the paper crinkles. The house learns the rhythm of dough and rest and heat. Leo keeps a simple notebook. He writes what worked, what failed, and what he will try next. He adds cookies, then light pastries that lift when the butter is folded with care. He tests smaller loaves for children and a crust with more bite for people who enjoy a firm chew. He practices honest talk with customers. He tells them what is new and asks what they notice. He listens without pride and thanks them for each clear word. Evenings belong to study. He reads about gluten and steam and why heat matters most in the first minutes. He watches a short lesson and then repeats the motion with his own hands until the lesson lives in muscle. He cleans the bench until it shines. He sharpens blades until they sing through the dough. The house goes quiet. The oven cools with a sigh. Leo sets out clothes for the next morning and sleeps with a steady mind. Part 6. The Rival. On Main Street. Bright morning, a new sign appears on the main street. The letters shine. The window glows. Inside, cake stands glimmer under smooth glass, and the air smells like sweet display. The owner is a young man named Eric who greets people with a quick grin and a strong voice. Curious feet cross the threshold. The crowd leans toward the new thing. Leo feels the pull of worry and lets it pass through like a wave. He does not answer with blame. He answers with questions. He visits the shop as a quiet observer. He notes the polish, the clear labels, the clean line from door to counter. He buys a small item, tastes it, and writes a short review for himself. He stands outside and notices how the light hits the window and how the sign meets the eye from the corner. He asks his own customers what draws them there and what they still want from him. The list that grows is simple: better display, clearer story, a touch of beauty that respects the craft. Leo paints his cart, cleans the edges, and brings a cloth that sets a calm tone. He prints crisp cards that name each item in plain English so visitors can learn words as they choose their bread. He adds a board that says, "Made at dawn, sold with care, tell me what you taste." He learns basic decoration for cakes and uses it with restraint. The goal is not to shout. The goal is to speak with quiet clarity. Part 7. Winning Back with Care. The next week begins with slower traffic and ends with a steady rise. People pause longer at his stand. They enjoy how the loaves are stacked so the crust catches the light. They read the cards and smile as they point at a word they now understand. They accept a small sample and nod at the balance of salt and warmth. A grandmother returns and says the new pastry feels light without being weak. A student says the labels help him practice before a test. A worker buys 2 loaves and asks about the story of the flour. Leo thanks each voice. He writes the names he learns and remembers the small details that make a person feel seen. He moves with calm hands. He wraps each loaf like a promise and tucks in a tiny line on a slip of paper. He writes keep going when the day is heavy, or you did well if the buyer looks unsure. He does not perform for praise. He practices service as a craft of attention. Eric still draws a crowd, and Leo accepts that truth without anger. There is room for both when the town is served with respect. Leo focuses on mastery he can control. He shortens the line from oven to stand so the warmest loaves arrive at the best hour. He adjusts proofing so the crumb stays open and light. He adds a simple return policy that says if a loaf disappoints, bring it back and take a fresh one with a smile. Trust steps closer when risk steps back. By sunset, the pouch carries enough to pay the baker, feed the house, and set aside a little for tools. Leo locks the stand with easy hands. He looks down the street where the new sign still shines. He feels no push to compete with glitter. He will compete with care. Tomorrow he will repeat the rhythm. Tomorrow he will make fewer mistakes. The town will decide. His job is to earn the decision. Part 8. Nightfire and the Test. Of whirlwind pushes rain against the window, and the oven gives a tired cough. A thin spark hides where the wall meets the frame. It grows like a small lie that no one sees until it is loud. Leo smells the change before he sees the light. Smoke lifts in a gray ribbon. He moves fast. Water, cloth, breath, steady steps. He fights the flame and wins the room back. Yet the cost is clear. Metal is warped. A switch is black. The sweet smell of butter turns sharp in the throat. He opens the door to let the night carry the smoke away. Neighbors gather under low umbrellas. Some offer help with honest eyes. Others shake their heads with quiet pity, as if a page is turned to the end. Leo thanks every hand, then locks the door and sits on the cool floor. He does not perform grief. He lets it pass through like a slow wave and listens for the fact inside the noise. The fact is simple. Equipment is hurt and money is thin. Orders for the morning are at risk. His heart puts out a call for courage and waits for the answer. He begins with breath. Then he begins with paper. He lists what is broken and what still works. He sorts must-have from nice to have. He checks the small reserve he kept for hard days and sees how far it will reach. The math is not kind. He could close and hold on to pride. He could wait for luck to knock, or he can stay in motion and make a narrow path where there was none. He stands and says out loud that the shop will not go dark. Not if honest work can buy one more dawn. He sends a message before sleep. It is short and clear. A small fire damaged part of the shop. No one is hurt. I will bake at home for a while. Orders will be smaller, but they will be steady. Thank you for your trust. He sets 2 alarms and places a bucket by the stove. He is not fearless. He is careful. He is ready. He knows the town will judge the next sunrise more than any promise he makes tonight. Part 9. Rebuild with hands and with neighbors. Morning arrives with a cool edge. Leo moves the mixing table to the home kitchen and lifts the small oven onto a stable stand. Mother wipes the walls while water warms on the stove. Sophie lines trays with paper and counts the bags twice for safety. The room smells clean again, like a reset. Leo chooses recipes that match the tools at hand. Simple loaves that rise well, cookies that hold shape, a light pastry that does not demand a deep oven. He posts a quiet note near the stand. Smaller batches for a short time. Same care in every bite. People respond in a way that softens the chest. A neighbor brings flour and says it was extra from a holiday plan. A friend from the market lends a scale. A silent customer leaves eggs at the door with a card that reads, "Keep going." Mr. Anderson arrives near noon with a steady look and no speech for drama. He walks the room, taps the counter to test for wobble, and points to a place where heat once hid. He says to move the rack and to give the outlet a rest between loads. The advice lands like a gift wrapped in plain paper. Leo leads by doing. He thanks and then works. He cleans, labels, and stacks with care. He wipes the floor until the smoke mark fades to a ghost. He answers each message with a calm tone and honest status. He hides no delay and makes no excuse. He offers a simple return policy and honors it without fuss. He keeps a log of every offer of help so he can repay when his feet are under him again. The act of writing the names becomes a quiet promise to the town. Days stack like bricks. The pace is tight, yet not frantic. Leo learns the art of small capacity well used. He groups tasks so heat is never wasted, and he lets dough rest while messages are answered. He finishes each evening by planning the next 3 steps, not the next 30. Confidence returns, not as a shout, but as a low hum that keeps time. When a person asks how long the rebuild will take, he smiles and says that the work will tell us. The work does. Orders lift. Walls shine. The room feels like itself again, only stronger at the joints. Part 10. The door opens. Again. The day of return is clear and cool. The sign looks new without losing its history. Fresh paint covers the scar, but a small line remains by choice. It is a reminder, not a wound. Leo checks the lights, the counter, the path from oven to shelf. He sets out a short story on a card near the till. It speaks of trust, of steady hands, and of work that refuses to quit. He lays out loaves so the crust can sing under the morning light and places small cards with simple English so each choice becomes a tiny lesson. People arrive in waves. A child presses a face to the glass and names items with care. A worker grabs a warm loaf and says he missed the smell on this street. A teacher buys a box for a staff room and asks about hours for a student who wants a part-time role. The mayor stops by and shakes Leo's hand with a nod. He says that the shop is a sign that the town can carry a bad night without losing its way. The words settle in the room like a blessing that does not ask for attention. Behind the counter, the system moves with calm speed. Mix, rest, shape, proof, bake, cool, wrap, share, and listen. The loop is simple and strong. Leo trains one helper to run the bench and another to hold the front with a smile and clear eyes. He keeps the rule that a clean station is a fast station and that a good label saves a good question. Each hour he notes what sold and what asked to be better. He does not chase a trend. He chases clarity and taste. By afternoon, the shelves show more wood than bread. Leo refills water for tea and takes a slow breath by the back door. He thinks of the night when smoke hid the ceiling and turns his mind to the people who showed up with hands and heart. He decides that the small line on the wall will stay. It keeps him honest. It keeps the lesson near. When the last customer leaves, he locks the door with quiet joy. The shop stands open in spirit, even when the key turns. The town can feel it. Part 11. Lessons, Gratitude, and a Simple Call. Evening light lays a soft stripe across the counter. Leo wipes the last crumbs and rests his palms on the wood. He looks at the line on the wall and lets the whole road play through his mind. The long walk to ask for trust. The first stand in the park. The laughter of a child who tasted a warm edge of crust. The patient teaching at a flower table before dawn. The clean defeat of the first hard loaf and the quiet win of the first even crumb. The rival on Main Street who forced an honest look at display and story. The night of smoke. The morning of rebuild. The door that opened again because work opened it. The lessons are not loud, yet they stay. Nothing is free. Not skill, not respect, not a second chance. Each asks to be paid in attention, in time, and in action that can be checked. Failure is not a wall. It is a class. Take notes. Return. Improve one small thing and then another. Ask for help when you have helped yourself first. Lead by doing. Speak less when hands can speak more. Keep the customer within reach of your heart, not only within reach of your shelf. If this story helped you feel the shape of steady effort, join our circle. Follow Luminary English for more lessons through story. In the comments, write one clear sentence with the phrase, "Nothing is free," and add one line that names how you will practice today. Read it out loud. Shadow 2 lines that moved you and hold the sound in your mouth until it feels natural. Share one new word you used and a short line that carries it. Thank you for listening with care. Tomorrow we build again.